2-3 seconds. Yes, we are live. All righty. Welcome to the Comics and Variety Sunday Show, episode number 1. I want to thank my guests for showing up here, Michael Bancroft and Rob Cacy. Let me just bring up a screen share here real quick. All righty. We're going to be talking about these today in a little bit. First is Michael Bancroft's comic book, The Lucent, which is still funding, has 28 days left, and is doing extremely well. Then there is Rob Cacy's Cyborg USA, which I actually received a while back and reviewed on our indie comic stream, which we have on Tuesdays. It's a lot of fun and now in demand. If you haven't jumped on that, I would. And then there's my comic book Tilt, which is now 91% of the way funded. 18 days left. So, but before we get to discussing your comic books, why don't I just bring up this topic here? Yesterday, I took my kid out because the Blue Angels were close to BWI, which is about 40 minutes from here. And anything I can do to get my kid away from the house right now, in this time, was worth it. So I go down to the usual place we go to by BWI. Fortunately, we did get to see the Blue Angels for just a little bit, but I'm getting close, and this is the usual observatory park that they've got for BWI, and it's completely crowded. And if you look closely here, you'll notice that there's a number of people here who are not wearing masks. And then there was a number of these, and I mean, this is the only picture I could capture, but a lot of people on bicycles, number of them not wearing masks, and there were a bunch of local bicycle groups that were all out and about. It's like people are just, have gotten sick and tired of the lockdown, and I'm kind of thinking like it's getting to be time where we really start, letting back on the lockdown and, start trying to get the economy going. I don't know. Maybe some people disagree. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to think or what you guys think.
Well, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
Michael, I just want to know where Michael's from because you have an accent, right?
I do. Well, you guys have an accent to me.
you are Aussie, right?
Yeah. I'm an Aussie. Yeah. I'm in Melbourne, Melbourne, Australia. So I'm in the same place from Rob Arnold.
Ah. All righty. How locked down are you in Australia?
Well, me personally, I have not changed all that much of what I've been doing. I've been going into work every day. So, but yeah, they call us, we have stage 3 lockdowns. We didn't get to stage 4. Stage 4 was like, quarantine. Everyone has to stay home. But yeah, we were at the point where if you went out of the house and the police stopped you for whatever reason and you weren't doing one of the 4 or 5 pre-approved activities, then you would be getting a $1,600 on the spot fine, and they were handing those things out like candy, I tell you.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So yeah, it was yeah, and I don't know, I don't know if it's the same where you guys live, but where we are, the police departments, they have a set amount of like speeding tickets and drink drivers they have to catch for their budgets, for their quarterly budgets. So with people not on the road, a lot of us start to get the feeling like they're trying to make up the difference here with just going after people. Like, what are you doing out here? Like, why are you sitting down on this park bench? You're clearly not out here doing your pre-approved exercise. But
yeah, because if you're all alone on a park bench, you must be infecting someone, right?
It's there's definitely those very weird things happening. You can go into a supermarket with 200 people, but you can't kind of just go and sit down. You can't go and sit down at the park. If you're at the park, you have to be walking because you have to be exercising. So yeah, it's weird too because that we've only had. I don't even think we've had 100 deaths in Australia, in all of Australia. A big country, 25 million people. Yeah, so it's all starting to feel a bit like what's it all for us.
You guys handled it really well though, and like fortunately,
Yeah.
like you guys got Tom Hanks and his wife tested for us, so big shout out to you guys for that. I think we've handled it like shit, and it kind of depends on where you are. Like definitely people start to you start to get in a bad place where people are like, this isn't affecting me, but like the illness is, like I'm not seeing the illness around me, but it's affecting me economically, and and I feel like you said, you start to resent the police or something like that. That definitely I think is the case for a lot of people across America. But so like I live in New York City, and what you see out here, this is like my summer retreat, but I've basically been like here for the last 2 months. So I haven't been back to my apartment for 2 months, and I don't know when I'm going to get back to my apartment. As long as New York City is like under.
Are you not allowed back because they're now?
I am allowed back. I mean, I definitely could go back. But I don't want to. I would if I did, I would want to quarantine myself from my family for 2 weeks before I like spend time with them again. So it's
New York is that's like kind of really hard hit place, isn't it?
It's super hot spot, and I think it's like something like 1 in 50 people are infected, and the city has just sort of cleared out. I mean, people who can leave have, so it creates like another big problem with like a lot of instability with like haves and have-nots as well. Being cooped up in your apartment in New York City for months on end without any hope of relief is like a terrible prospect. Domestic violence is way up, and there's no assurance that they're going to even be able to open the schools in the fall. So it kind of depends on where you are, and unfortunately, because like New York is kind of the heart center of the world, like it just pumped all that disease like all throughout the United States. So in my opinion, it's going to be a while before we get anywhere near normal, in any for any sort of like total U.S. situation.
Yeah, well, the epicenter is certainly New York City, and but there are other parts of the country where, like South Dakota, which they really haven't engaged in much of a lockdown. So it's South Dakota, but it's South Dakota. It's not exactly a major population center. But
well, I'm from Alaska, and Alaska reopened totally. They've been able to keep people out, because
Georgia can limit. Friday, and Georgia's got Atlanta, which is a big population center. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. The other thing we're seeing is that there's an increase in relapses in alcoholism and drug addiction, because to get off of that, you need to socialize, at least in terms of attending your AA meetings or your NA meetings, and they can't do that. So you're starting to see more people slip back into that. I mean, I understand kind of why we did the quarantine for a while. I mean, I think we could have handled it better than the kind of quarantine measures we took. But that said, I mean, we have more than 20 million people now out of work, and at some point, I think the consequences of that start to outweigh the benefits of the quarantine. I mean, the other thing is, we also kind of know now that a lot of the infection where it's most dangerous, like nursing homes, and you can target those. So I don't know. I personally think it's time to start reopening things. I wish they do that here in Maryland. I'm glad some other states are starting to do that. But the other thing I've been looking at is hospital capacity, and except for New York, it's really not that bad. I mean, if there was an uptick because we opened the economy, and again, I don't want people to get sick, I don't want people to die, but we have this sort of stuff with flu season every year, and we don't shut down the economy. And I just think that the benefits of this quarantine, or the cost of this quarantine, are starting to outweigh the benefits.
The effects are definitely going to be felt, in they're going to be counting it in decades, not years. It's this has never happened before, as far as I know, where they just kind of shut down everything in a just like with a kind of blanket shutdown. Like you said, like Dakota, or South Dakota or whatever. Like even in Australia, we the number of people who live like per square yard or whatever would be minuscule compared to how many people are living on top of each other in New York City. So yeah, definitely, I think in places where it's, that there's not as many people in large areas, there haven't been as many infections. Yeah, you can't be treating those places the same as somewhere like New York or Los Angeles or any other places where there's been massive outbreak. Because obviously I'm not an expert in this, but I've been looking at it, and it seems to be that the viral load in the person has a big thing to play in how deadly the disease can be, which is why you see a lot of the poor people who work in the hospitals in like places like New York. They're in real danger.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's hard. You agree and you disagree. As just as a layman, kind of looking on. We all just want what's best, and this thing is so complicated.
Yeah, I think
Obviously,
everybody wants it to be back to normal. Obviously, the economic consequences are terrible. Look at Georgia though, and see what happens with them if they experience like an uptick, or if we throughout the summer kind of move towards opening things up, and then have a major outbreak like in the fall, like a lot of doctors are predicting is possible. That's gonna put us on even less sure footing than pacing it out gradually, in my opinion.
All righty. Well, Rob, I'm going to let you have the last word on that because I want to move to something more interesting and less depressing.
Awesome.
All righty. Give me just... Yes, big guy. Sorry, have my... No, I'm not talking to Jeremy. Sorry. All righty.
Say hi to Jeremy for me. I appreciated the review.
I will definitely do that. No, you can come over and say hi real quick if you want, big guy. You got peanuts all over your face.
that's all right.
Say hi to Michael and Rob.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. I'm watching videos.
You're watching videos? You want to go back to watching videos? Okay, say bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
See you, brother. Have a good day.
All righty. Okay, let's for just a few minutes talk about Leslie Headland, who wrote the I guess it's a Netflix smash Russian Doll and is now moving on to Star Wars. She went back and deleted a whole bunch of her tweets, but somebody did manage to catch this, and just gonna play it here.
Hey, so let me ask you something, Doc. Like, because I haven't been following the story at all, but I catch it out of the corner of my like vision and like some other streams and stuff. Is what you're about to play why everybody like dislikes her so much, or why the hate?
Well, I think
rage for her.
To me, it's a little bit more. Oh man, what is going on? Okay, come on here. It is. Yeah. I think it has a lot of it has to do with this clip, but it's also that she said a lot of things about
white women need to kind of step up their game. To be quite honest,
I don't know if you guys can hear that. Let me.
Yeah,
Yep.
Basically hear it.
You can hear it. All right. Hang on just a second. Let me make sure that I click the because there's usually sometimes we can hear it, but the folks out there in
yeah, you're not gonna make me mad at somebody telling white women to step up their game. I'm with them, man. White women, time to get it together.
All right. fair enough. Okay. All right. Let's give this another try here.
To say that, like, I think white women need to kind of step up their game. To be quite honest, like, sorry, but I'm calling you bitches out. Like, you really do, because like, there's like couldn't agree more with everything that these brilliant women are saying. But like, I'm also seeing the silent killer, which is a lot of white women at the top who are kind of reinforcing a lot of old ideas. I think a lot of it, to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll just speak from my own personal experience. It's just like, I wasn't sure how to be an ally. I wasn't sure what type. I got so caught up in like what kind of terminology I was supposed to be using and being politically correct. And so as I started to rise in television, I started to just get more blunt and just start saying like, I would like a black writer. because if I said diverse, you know, you get well, white is diverse, which is something somebody said to me, and I was like, wow. I was like, it's not cool, but to really, you know, I reached out to my, you know, the women that I respect who are not white.
All right, I think that's enough. For me, the main thing I just wanted to touch on here was that, you know, is that, I mean, had she said, if you substitute a term for white women like black women, would she still have her job with Star Wars right now with Disney?
She wouldn't have a job anyway.
I mean, yeah, it's just, to me, it seems like there's a double standard, and I'm not the type of person, I don't like cancel culture. You know, I can understand why sometimes people say things are so egregious that, you know, business doesn't want the bad PR, but I'm also about people making a mistake, going out, asking you know, making an apology, asking for forgiveness, giving them a chance, and not firing them. You know, I think there's something to be said for maybe moving a little more toward a forgiveness culture. I don't know, Rob.
So I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm like that video, but I have a sense of it. Like, so my wife is like a, you know, like a business person in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of pressure on women in business. You know, internally, I mean, a lot of them generate it themselves, but to you know, break the glass ceiling and get, you know, more women, you know, into business at higher levels. And along with that, there's a lot of self-congratulation, and you see, like, you know, these like women's organizations get together, and it's a lot of white women, you know what I mean? And you look around, and it's like they're congratulating themselves for being diverse. And they're not bringing in like you know, black women as well.
Okay.
And so I think, like, applying that context that I'm like aware of to like what she's talking about, kind of like to me, like, helps me understand. I think she's navigating like a tricky. She's trying to communicate certain things. When she talks about like being an ally, you can tell she's like feeling like on the spot. How do I use my success and turn it into success for other people that are marginalized? So that's what I hear coming out of that. I'm not hung up on her bad mouthing white women. I think white women generally do pretty well, you know, honestly.
Okay. Any response, Mike?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite on board with Rob there. That whole speech just kind of really reeked to me of just way too much Kool-Aid in the whole social justice you know, ideology or whatever. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously I'm not involved in any of that kind of corporate speak. She's, you know, it's like, I get exactly what you're saying, how it's like it's really steeped in that corporate culture. This kind of, is just the way she talks is very foreign to me, and it seems completely unnecessary to be singling out races, you know, here or there. But you know, I'm not in that world at all. I don't know. She just sounds like every other social justice warrior on YouTube to me.
I think the reason that she says it, this is why I like couch all that stuff. I think the reason, and this is why I also said, like, I don't know what she's talking to, but I think the reason that she said it is she's probably at a diversity event where what she's looking at is like an audience full of white women. That's what I think is going on there. So I think that to me, that's like why she's couching those comments like that way. But I don't know. That might just be my imagination, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Nothing wrong with giving people a benefit of the doubt. All righty. Why don't we then now move on to one of our commercial breaks and talk about Lucent. Michael, do you have a screen share that some images you want to share, or do you just want me to bring up the page here?
Yeah, if you just want to have a look at the page, yeah, that's more than enough, I think. The campaign's live. It's going amazingly well. I'm completely blown away by the response to it so far.
Tell us about what is the I mean, you've got a nice elevator pitch here. When dreams and reality collide, a young woman is thrust in the middle of an ancient conflict. I mean, that's really pretty succinct. And but tell us a little more about it. I mean, what is the plot and the characters and so forth?
Yeah, so the Lucent is the ongoing series. It's it's a series of books. There is a beginning, a middle, and end, and Waking Dream is this first book in the series, and it's focused on that main character there that you see, Ella Forsyth, and it, you've got suspense, we've got a little bit of super powered action, a bit of romance, and basically she's thinks she's living this ordinary life. She works in a bookstore, she looks after her elderly grandfather, and as it is, though, the world that she thinks she's living in is not the world that she is living in. You've got these Illuminati style shadow societies, so like secret societies who are actually running everything from the shadow. They're hiding in plain sight, and events are about to take place in the start of this book, Waking Dream, that are going to thrust her out of the world that she knows into this crazy world that she can't see yet. And that's sort of the rundown of what this first book is about. So at the end of this book, she's going to be it's going to be pretty clear she's not going to be able to go back after what happens at the end of this book. And if you could just scroll down, we've got we can just look at a bit of the art. Yeah, there's her on the front cover there.
Let me I'll reduce this a little bit so we can get a little more of the screen in there. There's the cover.
Yeah, so this cover is specifically designed to be, it kind of looks like she's like flying towards you, and then you realize there's the building, the angle of the building, that actually she's falling down. And then you see it's like pavement, and you're looking in a reflection of a puddle. So it's it's like multi-dimensional thing happening. And
what's the deal with the tile at the top there? And I'm like, oh, okay, so she's about to go into it. That makes sense. It's actually underneath the puddle. Alrighty, that's
exactly
awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a kind of a visual play on. This is sort of, I've been saying, she's a bit like Alice from Alice in Wonderland. She's falling down that rabbit hole into this strange world that she has no idea exists, and what's it's going to be like when she gets on the other side, because the people on the other side, they have all manner of weird and powerful abilities, and they've been here a very, very long time. It's going all the way back to the beginning of civilization. And what I've done with this book is, it actually has like sort of 3 timelines that run parallel throughout the series. And one of them starts 6,000 years ago, one of them starts 2,000 years ago. And as they progress through the centuries, you kind of see, with real historical events, how they've influenced the path of human civilization. So we're talking powerful people here, and she's going to be, just because of who she is and what she is. I'm not going to go into that because it is a mystery as well. Mm-hmm. She's going to be smack bang in the center of it, and she's going to have to. Yeah, she's going to have to learn real quick how to survive and exist in that new environment she's going to find herself in.
All righty. How about some of this art here?
Yeah, so this is the first double page spread. If you just scroll down a bit more, you'll see that there's another page. So I kind of had to split the double page spread up into 2 bits. So this is the first kind of moment we see her name is Ella Forsyth, and in the current timeline, this is like her story kicking off here. And she's standing.
Did you base this on an actual skyline, like an actual city?
No, it's London. It's London. There's no place in London that you can see, St. Paul's and London Eye, and you can't see the Gherkin in there, but these are all buildings that are in London. And I just kind of put them all in a composition that worked for what I wanted to do, and took a bit of artistic license and had her standing there. She's standing on the ledge. And if you scroll down just a tad bit more, you'll see she actually does kind of jump off. And this is all about, symbolizing. It's a metaphor of her. She'll be. This is what it's going to be like for her in the story. She's kind of jumping into the unknown and into a new life.
Wow. All righty. I assume this is a rather grim scene here, correct?
Yes. This scene here is actually set 14 years before that last that big double page spread, and it's not really spoilers because it happens right at the start of the book. But that guy there. Who's about to get his guts kicked out? Basically, he's actually Ella's father, and so she's going to lose him on that night, and that's going to kick off some events that are going to lead her to be where she is in her life when we meet her. He's not going to have a good day, that guy. So you can see he's
no, obviously not. Ugh. All righty. What's going on here? This is interesting.
This is this guy here. He's sitting in his cave. This is set around 6,000 years ago. We're going to follow this guy throughout history through the series. So this is in Waking Dream. We see him here. This is like I said, 6,000 years ago. We see him where he is. In the second book, we see him nearly about 2,000 years later. Obviously there is kind of themes of mortality and immortality going on here, it's I'm dropping basically these scenes I'm dropping just a whole bunch of visual clues as to what is going to come later on in this story, and you might not be able to understand it the first time reading this book, but as the books go on, you got to look back and say, I see what this was all foreshadowing here.
I see. Is this that same guy going through history here?
This is a different guy. So this is like I said, there's 3 timelines going on here, and part of the fun and the mystery will be figuring out as you go along, like where will all these ancient timelines. So we can see here we've got some Roman soldiers, so you can kind of guess the time frame here.
By the way, this is really.
Thank you.
This is really. That just really jumps out at you. That's nice.
Yeah, it's great contrast.
Yeah, I've it's been working hard on the colors and the effects and everything, and getting them up to as professional standard as I possibly can. But this guy, we're this is another guy that it's going to be fun, I think, for readers to kind of try and figure out in their heads, put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Like, how are all these tracks going to meet up at the end, in the current day timeline, so to speak? And that's part of the mystery. I love that. I love that sort of stuff.
So you've got wow. So you're a good ways away here. Have you any more progress since you put this up in terms of completed pages? Or
no, unfortunately, I haven't really had much time since this campaign's gone live to do pretty much anything. I offered free little sketch cards for the first 24 hours when I launched, and that did really well. I think that really added to the the kind of the big boost that I got on the very first day. Mm-hmm. And so I've just been like getting worried and just started drawing sketch cards because I don't want to get too overwhelmed.
What are some of the tiers here? Like this first tier, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm doing this head sketches like this. This is on really nice watercolor paper, and it's just going to slot in with the book, and you can actually choose what character you want from them. The characters that I've shown down below, and so that's the featured tier. You get just one with just the book and all everything's signed, of course. Mm-hmm. And that's that little sketch card. These little things here. So everyone who backed on the first day gets one of these, and from here on out, there'll be $35 for the book and the little sketch card there. I've got a fold-out poster of that double-page spread.
Fold-up poster. Oh, all right. Which one does that come? Which perk is that with?
Just there's that one and the one above it. There you go.
All righty. Oh, sign book and fold-out poster. Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, I think I know which. I just realized today I had not backed this book. I think I know which one I'm going to jump on.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to look cool. It's a really, like, I spent a long time on that double page spread because it's the sort of the introduction to her as we're going to know her going forward. And it's, like I said before, it's like a metaphor kind of thing. She's on the ledge when we first meet her. She's standing on the brink, and it's all about to kick off from there.
Wow.
So like my comic is the first comic I ever did, and we put a double page spread in issue 1, and that was probably the like of all the work we did on it, the most stressful part of it was just like thinking about that double page spread and not screwing it up.
Yeah. Some things, splash pages, double page spreads, you got to covers, you've got to make that impact and give people, give them that emotional impact, give them that just, oh, that's awesome, I love that, something to sell. I've actually seen a few people say like either the cover or that particular spread, that's what made them see this campaign and really take a serious look at it. So yeah, you're right, you do have to get it right and make sure that impact is there.
Okay, why don't we play your video up? Assume this is a video. Yeah, let's give it a run here real quick. Hang on just a second. Okay, there we go. To here. Like it already.
It's got some of that Christopher Nolan.
All right, here we go. Oh yeah.
When dreams and reality collide, a life is turned upside down. Thrust into a conflict where ancient shadows fight secret wars. For control of the future. Her allies hide in plain sight. But so do her enemies.
Very nice. Very nice.
That looks
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty. Okay. Let's go on to. I'll pop that. Let me pop the. Let me pop the URL to the campaign into the chat here real quick, as soon as I can. Let me pop the URL to the campaign into the. Alrighty, let's go on to the most important news of the day. Very important news. And I mean, we've been talking. A lot of us have been talking about the plight of comic book stores, and retailers, and how much trouble they're having, and how many of them are going to go under. But if you think they are having problems, boy, oh boy. Here we go. Few lesbian bars remain in the U.S. Will they survive COVID-19? There are thought to be just 16 lesbian bars left across the country. I want to know, how did we let this get into such bad shape to begin with?
Yeah, I clicked I clicked on this link and saw this. That is, when you look at the map, it's like if you're a lesbian wanting to go to a lesbian bar, and there's not one in 3 or 4 states surrounding you, I guess you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, I didn't.
Shameful.
Is there where was the? Oh
Yeah.
my God! Yeah,
It's a shameful dearth.
I mean, look at that. That is awful. I mean, if you're a lesbian living in Wyoming or Idaho, or I mean, if you're in southern Oklahoma, I guess you're okay. Maybe even Arkansas. But look how barren Arizona is. Look how barren Utah is. I mean, God, the winters must get really lonely in Minnesota up here.
I mean, I have seen women at gay bars, lesbian women at gay bars. So they're, is that the same? It's not really the same thing, though.
Well, yeah, it's not why people go there, I guess.
I think it's a crying shame.
Yeah, the number of lesbian bars in the United States has always been far fewer than those primarily catering to gay men, even though statistically women are more likely to identify as LGBTQ. Yeah, well, somehow I'm not sure the lesbians want exactly the same thing as the gay men do, or enough gay men, but so yeah, this is just a sad state of affairs. I mean, we might lose our last 16 gay lesbian bars in the U.S. What's to become of it? I think we need to go out and at least have a campaign that if all these 16 lesbian bars shut down, they become historical sites. You can turn them into museums.
Is it because lesbians they're like is it because they're more monogamous? Is that why they're not out there hitting the bars every night?
That's my understanding. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So
it just feels like that would be the case, just based off pure intuition. I'd imagine, I'm not involved in this world in any way. I kind of hooked up when I was very young and been with my wife a long time. I don't even frequent regular bars, let alone gay bars. Or especially lesbian bars. I'm sure we do have gay and lesbian bars here in Melbourne. We're a city that most definitely would have something like that. But it just feels to me like men would, the men in a gay bar, it would that would be a real kind of place to go and thing to do. But it just feels like it wouldn't be the same thing for women. Whether they're lesbians or not, women are still women. So
yeah.
It just feels like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not hooked up into the lesbian bar scene either, and at the rate it's going, I never will be, and I consider that unbridled tragedy.
Well, there's a lot of Bed Bath and Beyonds.
Ah, there you go. Woo! All righty. I think we're gonna let Rob have the last word on that. Let's move over to your campaign. Do you want to share screen, or do you want to just
No, you got it. It's all good. Plus, I got the we're like fulfilled, so I've got the books in person. We don't even need that. We don't even need that crazy page. Here's the
we
books.
don't need the crazy page.
No,
right.
I mean you can bring the page up. It's okay. But yeah, there we go. Issue 2, issue 1. Issue 2 is cover by Kane and White. The art in issue 1 and 2, and the cover for issue 1 is by Pablo Romero. The story is about Super Team USA. It's America's elite team of athletes. They stop a terrorist attack, and then the terrorists vow revenge, forcing a horrific train collision that maims and kills Super Team USA, and they are reanimated as Cyborg USA, an unstoppable team of super killers working for the Attorney General of the United States government. So that's basically the story of issue 1 and 2. Issue 1 is like the origin story. Issue 2 kind of takes us deeper into the characters and sets up more of the potential conflicts for the series. This is a pretty successful crowdfunder. We got our books out. People have been enjoying them. There are more for sale on the site. But we're going to end before all the ones that are listed on the site are sold, because we want to hang on to a few for the next campaign.
About how many do you have left for sale?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of change my mind every day. One of the problems is we got from Mixum, or we were printed from Mixum, but a lot of them came like damaged. And I got the shipment of issue 2 like the day before the mayor in New York City declared a state of emergency. So I left a bunch of books behind before I was able to like inspect them. So there's a good number of books back at my apartment in New York. So we'll have to stop selling them well before we get to those.
Gotcha.
But we're gonna end it pretty close. In the next couple of weeks, we're gonna close it. Count on that.
What's going on in this art right here? Tell us about this character here, and what's.
Yeah, so that's Tina Pendragon. She's like the 5 characters in Cyborg USA are Tina, Rufus, Bisbee, Hutch, and Captain USA. And probably like the main characters are Tina, Captain USA, and Rufus. Tina, she's like, interestingly enough, like kind of only her head is damaged in the crash. So she has like this kind of cyborg half head that they built into like this like death eye weapon, which basically vaporizes her nemesis. So these are the red skirts. The red skirts of the terrorist group that creates Cyborg USA through their terrorist actions. And they're coming when they find out that Cyborg USA has been reanimated. They're outraged, so they all kind of converge on Washington D.C. And this is like the climactic battle of issue number 1.
All righty. Let's take a look at some other art you got here. This is tell us about this page here.
Yeah, so these are the what you see here is the team is reflected. This is the issue 2 cover in the Killbot. So we're calling these the Killbots. Right. And the Killbots are these like robot sentries. The man who reanimates Cyborg USA is called Hans Ulrich, and they live in his mansion. That's basically like their team headquarters. And these Killbots are like death sentries that patrol the grounds. So they're like a security force for Hans Ulrich's mansion.
So freaking cool, that cover.
That is really nice art. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Kanan White's art with Kid Icarus doing the colors. He's on brand with Antonio Bryce. The inspiration for this was there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 cover, the issue 2 where they're like reflected in the Mausers. So that's kind of what I wanted to like homage with this cover.
Awesome.
Yeah. It came out really nice.
Yeah, I agree. It's beautiful, and I was able to get the original art from Kanan, which I really like, appreciate and cherish.
This really gave me a 1980s kind of vibe with this cover here, and especially I especially like the little label over here on the side with all 4 of the characters, kind of like the old Avengers comics used to do. It's really
Yeah, so we had Pablo make us up a couple of corner boxes. Like with the layout, they didn't exactly, you can see like, we didn't have them like up in the corner, kind of like where they used to. And with issue 2, we kind of end up putting it sideways on the bottom. So it's not exactly like what it used to be. But that cover is like straight out of the New Teen Titans, like issue 1. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't something I suggested to Pablo, but it's like a perfect inspiration, I think, for the first cover.
Mm. Really nice. All right, so you got t-shirts.
Yep. So all these tiers are closed. I got the t-shirt here, but the only thing you can back right now, basically, is for issues 1 and 2. So there's one tier. You can get the comics, and we'll ship those as soon as we get the order. I'm basically going to the post office like every day. So.
Wow.
Hey Rob, I remember that Pablo kind of blew up as an artist at one point, like a rocket. Was that during your campaign?
Yeah, it was during my campaign, and it wasn't. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily gave my campaign a boost. It kind of went on like parallel to like my campaign, but
well, he got all that attention because of his massive TNA. So
yeah,
I don't know, like, but still, I mean, it couldn't have hurt. It couldn't have hurt.
I think that's right. I think with Pablo, it was. I mean, it's like I have fun defending Pablo because I really believe. Well, this guy, Literature Devil, right? I saw him say this the other day. Like the artist's natural enemy is the censor, and I hate to see people going after Pablo for drawing, sexy women or outrageously oversized breasts or whatever it is that the complaint is. It's like, I don't know, that it infuriates me.
I like Pablo already.
Yeah, well, I've been following Pablo for years, and I've always really digged that throwback style, the simplicity. He's very prolific too. He seems to have something new up almost every day, and I think he just had the right image at the right time. And we're talking, he went from under 1,000 followers on Twitter to over 10,000 almost instantaneously. And I mean, I don't think he's ever backed down, but people definitely do come after him.
We were so lucky to get him when we got him, for sure. Like he works in a lot of different styles, I think, but the style that he uses for Cyborg USA was perfect for the concept. And yeah, you're right. Like now he's doing commissions all the time. And we're not going to be able to get him for the next couple books, so we need to find an artist for 3 and 4. When we lock one in, then we'll start pushing out the next campaign for the next couple books. So
how far away do you think you are from the next campaign?
It depends. I mean, it could be soon, could be like a little while.
Yeah. With this Mexican beer virus thing, it does. I'm sure it's throwing a lot of schedules out of whack. So
well, it kind of. I mean, we pretty much could. I mean, we could launch if we wanted to. I'd like to sell a few more books and then close this campaign out, and then have issue 3 and 4. Have people aware that campaign is coming soon. Basically, like a mailing list, I guess.
Well, 2 books for $25. That's a really good deal on among Indiegogo comic book campaigns. Why don't we give your video a little spin here? Okay,
but just before you do that, just to sweeten the pot, like the both covers are spot UV matte finish with spot UV. They're shipped in like protected Mylar. So at $25 is a lot for like 2 comic books, but these are like really high premium products.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. Let me just switch over to this real quick.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Tina, Rufus, Bisbee, Hutch, and Captain USA are Cyborg USA, a team of soulless super killing machines working for the Attorney General of the United States of America. Hi, I'm Rob Cacy, writer and creator of Cyborg USA. I've always admired the heroic determination of our USA champion athletes. About 20 years ago, I had the idea for Cyborg USA, based on those athletes and those super teams I loved from my childhood in the 1980s on Saturday morning and after-school cartoons and in comic books. Thanks to the revolution in crowdfunding that Indiegogo has made possible, I am now able to bring Cyborg USA to life in print for the very first time ever. Cyborg USA is the story of America's elite team of super champion athletes. Targeted by terrorists Yuri and the Red Skirts, the fanatical anti-globalist, anti-technology death cult, maimed and left for dead in a horrific train collision, Super Team USA are reanimated by the mysterious scientist Hans Ulrich and his manservant Carrington. Cyborg USA springs into action, America's elite team of cyborg super killing machines. Cyborg USA is written and created by Rob Cacy and Zach Tobacco, with art by the great Argentinian artist Pablo Romero. Additional art by Lee Miliuski, Bob Stone, and Michael Beacon. Go to Indiegogo, where you can get Cyborg USA issues number 1 and 2. Additional tiers include t-shirts, posters, stickers, and the chance to cyborgize yourself. Pablo Romero will draw you as a cyborg. Visit our website, cyborgusacomic.com, and sign up for our mailing list for your free digital copy of Cyborg USA issue number 1. That's cyborgusacomic.com and Cyborg USA the comic on Indiegogo, now available.
And that's a good reminder for anybody who's interested in the book and isn't sure if they want to buy it. You can go to the website and get a free PDF of issue number 1 by putting in your email into our mailing list. You'll automatically get PDF for issue 1. So give it a shot for free. See if you like it.
Sorry about that.
Hey Rob, does that manservant see any action? He looks like a pretty big dude.
Oh man, I guess that would be a spoiler, but I'm
Okay.
gonna say yes.
It's kind of visually implied, but yeah, that's cool. I like that he's man, and the fact that you pointed out his manservant there, and he's just massive.
Yeah,
he's as big as the Hulk.
right. Yeah, he's dope. He's like a character I really enjoy. And it's
I
kind
like
of
his suit.
Yeah, an Easter egg. He's kind of based off like his suit, especially is like Mr. Potter's stooge in It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if you guys know that movie really well, but Mr. Potter is like in a wheelchair, and he's got this guy behind him that like always wheels him around. But like, you could watch the movie 100 times and never notice him.
Yeah, right.
Okay, gentlemen,
cool,
I think we're going to be wrapping it up now. If you have anything else that you'd like to add, please go ahead and do so right now.
I think I'm good.
All righty, everyone. Thank you for stopping on by. Do be sure to back Cyborg USA and the Lucent. And Rob and Michael, thank you so much for showing up on the first episode of C&V Sunday morning.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks for having us on.
All right, thank you, and you all have a very nice day.
See ya.